Many times we are led to believe that prejudice is something malicious, violent, and evil. Because of this, it's hard to associate this concept with something as seemingly harmless as a joke. However, STOP really pushes forward two messages: that dangerous prejudice can be found in places like jokes and casual conversation, and that humor doesn't make stereotyping okay. STOP helped me see that a racist or sexist joke isn't something okay or casual, it can be really dangerous. The second step I took was to understand my own identity and uniqueness. I began to understand what separated me from other people. I had always known about my Jewish identity, but my uniqueness became overwhelmingly clear when I began to come out to the various communities to which I belonged during 8th and 9th grade. I knew that I was different, and this naturally led to the third step I took, which was realizing how I felt when people made jokes at the expense of the group I belonged to. That is to say, I realized how upset it made me when I heard the astonishing number of gay jokes every day. Mostly people responded to things that were stupid or annoying as, "That's so gay," or calling someone a faggot as a way to belittle them. No matter what the circumstances I heard these in, or who said them, they were always upsetting. I was being called stupid and worthless every time someone said something like this, because if they were insulting the group that I was a part of, they were insulting me. The fourth step I took was I began to notice when other people were making jokes that targeted a group of people. This step was relatively simple. I just started making a mental note of whenever I said something racist, sexist, or homophobic in a slur or joke. Just being aware of what's being said around you and noticing who is targeted is incredibly important, as every time I registered one of these harmless jokes as something prejudiced, my mindset began to shift from believing that this was okay to that this was something that was hurtful. This isn't to say that I said something when I heard them, as I don't think I would have been ready to say something, or to have been able to say what I was feeling in a way that wasn't patronizing or poorly formulated. More important was just noticing. The fifth step I took was taking the feeling I got when people made gay jokes and trying to relate the feelings others got when a joke was made at the expense of their group. Once I began applying my feelings to these situations, there was a much bigger impact for me. I could understand how others felt because I know I had felt the same way. The feelings of discomfort, isolation, self-doubt, and humiliation were all applicable to the situations that reminded me of my own. This led to the sixth step, which was refusing to participate in these types of comments, as I knew all too well how much they could hurt. Refusing to participate, to me, can be anywhere from leaving when someone says, "Want to hear a Jewish joke?" or starts telling a joke about a black girl, or even just refusing to laugh, or even more basically and essentially, stop telling these jokes to other people. To say that I've never told a racist or sexist joke would be a total lie, but I can honestly say that STOP has really made me take a step back and look at it from the perspective of the disenfranchised group. I'm still working on the seventh step, but I believe that this is protesting this type of humor and separating myself from people who use it. I think that this has been the hardest step because, as Susan and Sheila have told us many times, no one wants to be the person killing the fun, ruining the joke. I think that there's this fear in us. I know that there was and still is in me, that if we don't sit and laugh, we will be considered overly politically correct, or uptight, or boring. It can also stink because these jokes, if you don't think about their impact, can be kind of funny, and I think that sometimes we worry about missing out on the fun. However, I can say that from my own experience, this is not true. It's not just that I view these comments as cringeworthy instead of laugh-worthy, it's that you don't need prejudice to be funny. I have some of the funniest friends I've ever had right now, and not just imaginary ones, and I cannot think of a single time when they have used racism, sexism, or homophobia to get a laugh out of someone. I've started to come to the conclusion that people who rely on stereotyping for humor aren't really that funny in the first place. I encourage everyone in this room to both not be afraid to leave behind prejudiced humor, because trust me, you'll find substantially funnier people to talk to, but also to try and replace stereotypical humor with a more creative variety. People do notice, and it separates you from all of the rest. STOP has really helped me to be more aware of who I am and who others are, and this encouraged me to use this awareness to combat prejudice in day-to-day life. This has been very helpful, and I would say to everyone to take advantage of the diversity of ideas that STOP presents, and to adopt the curiosity about diversity that STOP embodies. Learning more about other people didn't just increase my own knowledge, it made me more receptive to new people with different backgrounds and lives. STOP really is an incredible setting in which we can explore the valuable diversity that is life, as well as learning how to combat stereotyping. If I can offer some concentrated pieces of advice, they're these. Take the mindset take the mindset of stop with you wherever you go. That is to say, be aware, be attentive, be open, and be curious. The more you learn and know, the less like you are to make general